Are you ready?
I'm ready.
He's ready. Oh boy. All right. Hey, guess what, kids? This is my 100th show. This is show 100. Jon Peckman Podcast. Connecticut Valley School of Music and Dance. Beautiful downtown Portland, Connecticut. Come over the bridge, go through one satellite, start looking left, pull a U-ey, park in the street. Red neon light. That's us. If you want to have your own show, listen after Dave will tell you how. Like and subscribe if you're on YouTube. Tell your friends. What else? I think that's it. And we have, it's kind of weird today. I had this weird idea. I don't know if this is going to work out. But I'm here today with Mr. Jim Chapdelaine.
You don't have to drop the mystery.
Okay.
You know what?
All right, here he is. Douchey Jim Chapdelaine.
Thanks.
All right.
Thank you.
He's been here before. But what we're going to do today, I think, although it's probably just going to be more of a conversation, but Jim is going to interview me because people who do not know that I've actually been a guest on my own show before, like, you should be the interviewee. And I have, but I am again. We're going to try and do this today. And then people are like, oh, I'll come in and roast you. So you can roast me all you want. I don't care.
I'm not here to roast you, John.
I don't mind. Apparently.
I like that you did a voice for all the people who have requests. You're going to come in here. Everybody does that. We all do that, right? We all have the voices for the other people.
Yeah.
The random people in our lives. So,
yeah.
So on behalf of the Society of Things That Are 100, congratulations on your admittance. Yeah. I was going to get you like 100 things, but I realized the only thing I could afford would be like rice.
That's fine.
And 100 isn't enough rice.
Yeah.
But it's 100 hours of content by my calculation, right? Which is 4.17 days, which means if you went on some crazy bender, you could press play and go for the whole Jon Peckman Podcast ride and still be home in bed by day 4.
Let me check what our memory card is like. Because I could do that. This would be a vision quest.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm into it.
Yeah, you need some chai tea or something like that.
What do you think this is? This is ayahuasca straight. You don't even know. I'm so nervous. I decided.
Wow. Prepare to meet your spirit animal.
Yeah.
In the form of an old man with a white beard.
I was just talking to somebody who has done quite a lot of DMT. And I was like, do you ever get to the point where you're like familiar with the elves? So you're like, hey, yo, so what are you up to? It's like, oh, dishwasher broke the other day. No one knows what I'm talking about.
Yeah, I don't. I was going to do one of those James Lipton things. John, you're a tree in the forest. What sort of furniture are you carved into? Well, we're not going to do that.
Oh, God.
We'll take it easy.
All right, I'll be quiet.
So, don't. It's your show.
All right.
All right. So let's talk about a couple of things. Do people know that that you play the mountain dulcimer?
I think they might. They might
run around with a bunch of people in hoop skirts and stuff.
Yeah.
You want to talk about the mountain dulcimer?
I do. Yeah. I mean,
hit it.
I do. So I've been a drummer my whole life, and I teach drums. And one of the places that I teach, they got, believe it or not, someone must have died. They had four dulcimers sitting around. And
generally, you would think someone dying would be bad news, but it sounds like.
No, I'm glad they died.
Yeah, it sounds like you're pretty happy about it.
And so when I was waiting for a student, I was like, what is this thing? I'm like, oh, yeah, I've seen one of these before. And when I was waiting for the student, I picked it up. And as maybe people don't know, it's an open tuning instrument. So right away, you're making a major chord without doing anything. And then the frets are actually laid out like a major scale. So it's not chromatic, so you can't even really play bad. So you instantly, with one finger, are already making tunes.
Yeah, you're pretty saucy.
Yeah, and I'm like, oh, this, because I have some facilities, strum-wise, I can kind of play. I'm like, oh. And then next week, I came in and came a couple minutes early to fool around, and I found out that student canceled, so I had an entire half an hour. And then next thing you know, I'm like, oh, hey, I'm starting to play songs. So then I bought one. I said, this.
And how many do you have now?
4.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, and then
you should buy a 5th immediately, so you're not that person with 4 dulcimers that dies. You know.
Oh,
yeah,
right.
Get that.
You're right. Well, I'm already dying. I'm dying now.
Well, we still have 45 minutes anyway, so hang in.
And then we went into lockdown. I think I filed it away and didn't think of it. And then when the pandemic was in full swing and we were in lockdown, I thought, you know what? I'm going to buy one. And while we're waiting for vaccines or in that doldrum where we were like, we're never going to, I said, I'm just going to become a skeleton and just play this thing as the world burns.
Right.
And then, yeah.
So it would be like a Major Keys soundtrack to the apocalypse.
But capo on the first fret takes you into minor.
Right.
So there's a whole other thing. And then there's a couple of tunings. There's a minor tuning you can get into. Now you're playing Scarborough Affairs, like the third song that everyone learns when you get, okay. And so kind of got into that. And that sounded a little more end of the world. That's kind of like,
definitely.
I died out in the field.
Yeah, with spices.
Harvest. Yeah. I was out, it was harvest, and I was out. And so, but I'm at a standstill because I can't.
Because you only have 4.
I only have 4.
You need 5.
Yeah, I need 5. And I'm running out of ideas because I need more. I watch people on YouTube. I figured out as many things as I think I can figure out, but I need guidance. And then I said, I need a goal. So I was going to make an album of just Mountain Dulcimer music. I was going to make it on one machine, like a Zoom mic. And I recorded my first track, and then I recorded my second track. And I realized that I need a better rig because those mics aren't close that I need to do.
Yeah.
So now I'm trying to figure out the right interface and microphones to actually make a record.
You're trying to climb the mountain of Mountain Dulcimers.
I have 12 tracks. I have the tracks even mapped out of the songs and how many overdubs. I just don't have.
So is there like a Jeff Beck of Mountain Dulcimer? There has to be, right? The guru.
There's some cats.
Yeah.
You know what it is? I discovered on YouTube you get, people that are. I mean, I have facility and I'm musical, but some people are they can barely kind of. I can burn a little bit, but I'm finding out there's some guys that obviously they're smoking mandolin players and they're tearing that thing up.
So they shred. Yeah.
It's kind of not fair because I'm like, well, that's a whole other thing.
Although you're a drummer, so your time is really good.
Well, you probably could. Like I say, once you get around it, I bet you if you have facility. So I watch some of these guys.
I can barely hold a cup right now, so I'm not sure.
Yeah, we'll do the old. But that's it. I'm at a standstill currently, but I'm going to figure it out.
Well, what's good is you just externalize that and you said it out loud. And by saying it out loud to your audience, now they're expecting it. They're expecting you to drop at least a single.
I have the single already. I just need the right recording setup because what happens is because there's drone strings sometimes. And if the mic is in the wrong place, that string's too loud. And I just realized I really need to experiment with mic placement.
And a pickup.
Or that.
And an amp.
Oh, God.
And a pedal board.
And a whammy bar. See, no one's done.
Right.
That would be something. But yeah, I'll get there. There was an electric one. They wanted too much money for it. But this person who died must have been a hotshot. Because they had like an electric one with a pickup. And I was like, I can't quite.
Well, you were just starting then, right?
I was starting then.
Yeah.
I didn't have the vision.
Now you're ready.
What I want to get into next is tenor guitar, the 4-string.
I'm aware of it.
It's like baritone ukulele. It's like a mandolin tuning, but it's like a short scale guitar.
Yeah.
Because a dulcimer.
I think that was Eddie Lang was started on that started on banjo.
Bill Loft Jr. You know who that is?
I know his father, Senior.
Okay. Well, he plays tenor guitar, and I used to hear his records, and I'm like, what is that? It's not a guitar. It's like a high-string guitar. But I can
Mickey
make
Mouse
shapes.
Club, Jimmy. Remember Jimmy?
Nope.
With the guitar with the ears on it? That was a tenor guitar.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
So the Mountain Dulcimer is 3 strings, but one of the strings is like a double melody. And so it's technically three-string shapes. Tenor guitar I'm going to graduate to 4-string shapes.
That's a big step.
Yeah. But
it's an exponential jump in terms of combinations.
I could probably make chords with 3 fingers, and then eventually I'll be a guitar player. A mediocre, I invented this thing. Yeah, it's a guitar.
You're going to end up with a 7-string guitar playing like Stained covers.
Yeah. Yeah, congratulations. Yeah, I arrived to mediocrity. Yeah, I put in all this work, and I'm just mediocre. But, yeah, that's the plan. Tenor guitar someday. I tried mandolin, but it's too small. It is small. It's too small for me.
Yeah.
Then I was like, maybe a double string tenor. Do they make tenor guitars that are double? And that's like
I have a thing called a taro patch, which is a chorus 8-string ukulele that is fantastic.
Right. That's probably close to where we're getting. Or Dean Falcone has it. I think you have an actual mandocello.
I do.
Same thing.
Yeah.
It's like
I have a electric mandola, and I have an octave mandolin. That's called.
That's cool.
That's an Irish bouzouki.
What? Oh, okay.
Yeah, or a Celtic bouzouki.
That's how that works. Yeah.
Or an oppressed, conquered people's bouzouki.
Right.
As we would say, my grandparents would say.
Exactly. So the mandocello is like a baritone.
It would be like
mandolin.
Yeah, it'd be like it's sort of the bass. Although there is a bass mandolin that stands up.
Oh.
Like a gigantic. If you see the mandolin orchestras at the turn of the century,
right,
which got blown out when the banjo took over.
You were there.
I was, you know.
Sorry, yeah.
Look at. Obviously, I'm in a lot of those photographs. So the banjo was so much louder that it sort of obliterated. It was like the mandolin became the Neanderthals and the Homo sapiens came in.
The bellicose
right,
version.
The taciturn. Let's use other words too.
Yeah.
So all right, so because I think people think of you as a drummer.
Yeah.
I think they should probably think of you as a mountain dulcimer guy, and
Not
maybe
yet.
as a musicologist.
Yes, sure.
So we'll get to that. Yeah. You know what I want to get, because you referenced it, and I think you probably have a unique perspective on this because you've talked to so many musicians over the last couple of years. Pre-COVID, post-COVID gig scene. Like what do you have any, not to get too heavy about it, but do you have any assessment of the impact to this community?
No, not
beyond
really.
It really sucked.
I kind of retired from the gig scene to
at that juncture.
No, before that.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
good timing.
I think what ended up happening was after Pitchell was like the last road gig that I had. That was like almost like my job,
right? Every
weekend. And when I wasn't working with him, I scrambled and picked up more teaching. I just was like, I got to do something.
Right. I remember that.
And I stumbled into a karaoke gig, which was a complete accident. I was looking for something to do, and a friend of mine was in the biz, and he goes, why don't you do this? I got a gig you could take over. I started doing that, and then that became a weekend thing. So I host karaoke on weekends instead of playing gigs. All of a sudden, when I was kind of out of the...
Less stuff to carry.
Yeah. So I wasn't really playing a whole lot already.
But you see people who depend on audiences for a living.
Yeah, I think from what I hear from all them is that it's more duos, trios.
I concur.
And earlier hours, which I haven't experienced. Yeah. My gigs are still karaoke gigs still 9 to 1:30, and I don't care.
I have to say I went on a little bit of a tear in August and September with John Pusat, Jonathan Edwards, sometimes a bass, but no more than a trio. I guess there were a few Band-Aids, but
right.
You know what I noticed? Boy, did I miss it.
Oh, really?
But sometimes you're driving to a gig. I'm driving to a gig. Oh my God. Wow. I really missed it. So I'm eager for it to return.
I don't mind. I'm getting back in the swing. I'm doing, like Lorne is allegedly going back out with Mary Chapin Carpenter, and I'm doing the Christine gigs on drums. Right. So all of a sudden I'm playing all summer with her, which will be fun.
Yeah.
And I'm doing the Running on Empty band, the Jonathan Schneider thing.
Oh, I've seen that.
I'm doing one of those.
I've never seen them, but I saw it advertised.
I'm doing one of those in April. That'll be fun. And then, so I got a couple of things. So I just decided, like, if I'm going to play a gig, I want it to be better than any bar gigs I was doing before. And Christine fits the bill.
Yeah, sure, of course. Yeah.
So we'll see. I'm gonna get back into it.
All right. So you don't have any big pronouncements about the entire musical community that you've seen. Like, here's what I can tell you about the whole community.
I think the gigs are earlier now.
Yep.
I think, judging from what I hear from from people that do it, it's like more breweries and earlier.
Well, breweries are like mushrooms all of a sudden.
Like,
it's just like it rained and there's mushrooms everywhere.
Yeah. My wife is here off camera, by the way.
Hello.
Oh, hey. You hear that? Say that again.
Hello.
Yep, that's her. Yep. Yeah, well, you don't see her.
I feel like Yoko.
Yeah, she's
sitting
unseen.
right next to you.
That's fine.
So by the end of this podcast, we're going to break up.
Yeah, right.
John
Right,
and I.
yeah.
Exactly. Yeah, the band.
I'm here to break all of this up.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I you know what? I did a radio show last week where we talked about why bands break up.
Oh boy.
And I think we could safely dispel that the Beatles broke up because of Yoko. I think she took the hit, and I don't think she should have. That's all I have to say about it
agree.
right now. Yeah.
Oh, now you're going to talk now?
I'm just saying.
Oh boy. Oh, yeah.
I will speak no more.
No, that's fine.
Speak often
Yeah,
and
yeah.
freely.
Yeah.
I'm conducting the interview, so
No, that's right.
I set the rules, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. In fact, let's talk to Paula for a
No.
while.
Yeah, go ahead.
No, I'm good. I'm good.
All right. All right. So let's talk about the musicologist dude, no, and specifically
Oh boy.
with regards to dropping a playlist on the world. Lately, I noticed it's been a little grim with your in memoriam playlists. I mean, and then I thought about it. Like, that's actually a good thing to sign on to, because it's never going to run out.
No.
Like that.
Yeah.
That's
no.
that
Until
just
death
keeps
is canceled.
Right. It's a constantly replenishing population.
I don't know if... Yeah.
Pretty clever idea.
Hey. Death is in. I was a child of the 80s. We used to make these things called mixtapes. I would always be... Because I get kind of hyperactive. I like immersing myself in certain things too. But like probably most people, when you got a cassette deck, you realize, oh, I could just put my favorite songs together instead of having to listen to the whole album. So once I started doing that, I would make mixtapes in high school on cassette, mostly for myself, because I just was like, I want to hear what I like this week.
Less skipping.
Right.
Less fast forward.
Right. So I would get into the mixtape. I always made tapes, and then I would make CDs when you could burn those and try and give them to people. Then I was like, oh.
I still have some of those.
Right? So, as a matter of fact, we got one of the only reasons that I can confess now that we got married was that I could just make a mix CD that I could give to all our wedding guests. The whole thing was a sham.
I still have that CD.
Yeah, and I thought, great excuse. They'll have to listen to it.
I was never really convinced about the marriage part. Like, are you guys legally married, or was it just the CD? Is there a certificate somewhere that we could see?
Yeah.
Proof?
Yes.
Yeah.
There, is there?
There is.
Yeah,
I have it. I have that along with some of your other identification.
Yeah, it's in the folder next to the refrigerator.
Some of your various
directions.
forms of identification.
You should see her filing.
And some old
She probably
fingernails.
does. She's probably like M marriage.
It is filed under it.
See?
For marriage or matrimony?
Either or.
Yeah.
Ooh,
Hey.
flexible. I like that.
No, she does.
Yeah.
Yeah. She suddenly. Yeah. Oh, I have the manual for that, and she'll go upstairs into her stupid little file cabinet. And be like, here it is.
Do you find the file cabinet stupid?
No, I will say though, the manuals are very erroneously filed. There's no system at all.
So
The
refrigerator could
manuals
be.
are just thrown in a box, but they're all in there.
How do you sleep?
Yeah.
It's hard.
Yeah.
Yeah. The refrigerator could be under F for Frigidaire or something.
It's a
mess.
It's a empty liquor box that I came across.
That's how I describe my life.
A lot of empty liquor boxes laying around our house too. I gotta tell you.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah. Everyone knows what heavy drinkers we are.
Yeah. Yeah.
But yeah, I got into it making CDs, and then when I discovered that you could post things online, of course, my struggle is I still like to mix things. I mix them because to me, the pause between songs or sometimes the overlap, that stuff, I go psycho over, because to me the wit is all in the transition and how the whole thing plays. You have to listen to it in order. You have to listen to it in the way that I put it together.
Well, you have to listen to it in your order.
In my order.
Because you're a control freak.
Oh, you're allowed to say that.
Yeah, no, I am saying it. I am. I've seen you.
Oh,
yeah.
So
I think that's interesting because, and this is a quick sidebar.
Yeah.
Do you remember when we put albums together?
When I held
for
the
people?
human skull outside.
We could go there if you want. Do you remember we'd sequence? I'd master a record, or we'd print the final tape for mastering.
Yep.
And we'd put all the titles on Post-its and just keep moving them around until we had it.
Yep.
But in those days when we'd make a CD, the time between one song and another was really important. And now you just upload files.
Yeah, because
Because everything's on shuffle or a playlist.
I hate it.
Because of people like you with the playlist thing.
Yep.
Yeah.
So now I post those on as a mixed format, but now everybody just wants a Spotify playlist. And I'm like, no.
I know I won't do Spotify.
Then I have to if I want anybody to listen to them. So I do themes. I'll read a music book, and I'll compile everything that everyone talks, because I'm just trying to look for something that I don't know about or in a different context. I'll do that. I'll read a book, or in this case, like once a year, I go to like the Billboard giant list of people who died and make the list and put them in order, which is to me the most interesting, because as much of a control freak as I am, I have to surrender to mortality.
Yeah, I mean, death apparently has the upper hand here.
Right. But
death is much more controlling than we had any idea. You think it's
I
random.
have an idea.
Well, I thought it was random, but apparently, according to you and Billboard, there's
makes
a
hell of a
structure to
mixtape.
it. Yeah.
It makes a hell of a mixtape.
Yeah.
So I put them in order, reverse order.
That was death, by the way.
Yeah. But it is fun. But I do make those, and they are fun. I don't know if I'm going to a different source, but a lot more people died in the last.
Yeah, I mean,
I don't know what the hell happened. But
We have a causation correlation thing, you think?
I don't.
You have powers?
I don't know, but it is true.
Yeah.
But yeah, I made those. It was my last thing, and it's a good excuse for me also to check out things that I'd only heard about or didn't know about, and I start combing through and go, I like this song. And I do this weird thing. It's kind of like a self discovery journey, journaling type of thing. But if I go in to listen to something like that, I just do needle drops. I listen to something that I don't know, and if I don't like it in 12 seconds, the thing that I...
That's like an A&R person.
Right? And I go, I like this, and I'll go listen to a whole bunch of stuff and just do needle drops and just instinctively put them in the order that they make sense. And then months later, I'll go, oh, they have the same turn of melody, but I don't know what the associations are because I'm putting them together blind. And then later I'll go, oh, I really do want a divorce. That's what all these songs are about. And then
so you just find a through line later on, yeah.
And because that's how I...
Do you think you're subconsciously curating the entire time? Because you forced so much music on me, and a lot of it's good. And a lot of times I feel like, why don't you focus on that skull you're hanging out of the car? Yeah. I know you and Pete are big on Dead Can Dance.
Yes.
And I'm trying.
It's
still
hard.
trying.
It's
yeah,
weird.
it's not. I'm getting there. I will listen from time to time.
I think it's how you're introduced to it, at least in my case, because if you hear it with the wrong ears, you just go, what is this, Enya? Or whatever, and that's it. Or you got to get the right context. And at least for me, my introduction to that band was perfect. I discovered them in New Orleans, so I was like, okay, I'm hearing
so yeah, vampires. And
I heard that, and then I thought, this is the most goth band in the world, and I bought their records, and I looked at them, and I'm like, they're Earth people. They're not. I thought they were and I'm like, oh, wait a minute, this is a whole other thing. But to me, it was goth music. It really isn't. It's more world music. It's, I don't know, what do we call it? Ancient, early music. It's now there's a word for it. It's
it seems like early
neoclassical,
right? Tribally kind of, yeah.
And they do what's the word?
Pre-Homo sapien.
Glossolalia. They
They
speak
invent a
in tongues.
language. Yeah.
They invent their own language, which I think
is that's kind of cheesy. Learn a language if you're going to sing. You know what I
Boing
mean?
yin yang sungo.
Exactly. Right. Yeah. And exactly is an English word, in case you didn't know.
Yeah, it might be pretentious. I don't know.
No, I'm not here to debate Dead Can Dance. I'm just saying you've thrown a lot of things my way, and I think most people who encounter you walk away a little better musically because
my conscience.
You know, the last time I was,
you'll hear a groan.
I was going to say the last time I was here, no one was groaning.
Yeah. She's just be here as a referee the whole time.
It's just like being at home. Sorry, it just slipped out.
Yeah, she's like, oh. Yeah, she's wearing her groan out, being married to me.
Not that tired, old. Yeah.
Well, good. I hope so. I want people to like what I like.
Yeah.
I suppose.
Well, we all do, right?
I get excited.
And therein lies the contradiction. We can't have it. We can't all like the same thing.
No. I guess I got to back off a little bit, but I just get excited. I've always,
Yeah. Well, no, that's contagious about you. That's the musicologist, curator. There's another word in there, too, I'm missing, that fails to capture the vehemence with which you project this at people when you're really enthusiastic about it.
I'm sure Paula has the exact word. I can't imagine.
Let me speak for Paula just this once.
Yeah, it's, you know what you are? Musicologist, enthusiast, and that's what and most people that encounter you end up. You ever do that? I always think about that. I go, sometimes my interpersonal reaction, I don't know what my problem is, but eventually at some point I drive everybody to the same reaction. And I go, everybody I run into, I eventually drive to this point, and they don't even know each other, and I go, it's got to be me. It's got to be. People from all cultures.
How would you define the point? This is so far away from music.
I don't know. I'm working on it. I'm trying to figure out. Well, you tell me.
Well, what's the reaction that you feel is universal, inevitable?
There's a look on people's face that they want me to just shut up. They're just like,
shall I demonstrate? I'm kidding.
There's no camera. Yeah, perpetual. Yeah. That's a resting.
So you know what? I don't think I've ever wanted you. Well,
you've worn that face. I've made that.
I was thinking on the way here, the first time that I saw you was with 8 to the Bar, and I had heard about you, and I had gone to great lengths to avoid meeting you. No, I thought, I'm going to go. I'm going to go see this kid.
Really?
Right? The kid, yeah. And 8 to the Bar is pretty much has a thing they do, right? And you were doing it.
Yep.
And all of a sudden, like, you had a drum machine, and like you just thrust the band into the future. Yeah. And you did this drum solo. It was really good. I thought, I see. I get it. I mean, you were playing all the other stuff perfect, but then you went off on this sort of, I think you had like a rack of samples.
I did.
You were triggering them. And how did that go over in the band?
Well, no, I will say, Cynthia is the band leader, so she loved it. She was all for it.
That's awesome. Oh, yeah. I think that's great.
At the time, I think like we all are. I mean, in some ways she can be closed-minded, but in other ways she's very open.
She has a thing that she's known for. And I mean, they've have a history of great players.
Yeah. And I also think one of her, if I had to be so bold and think about it, but I think one of the keys to their longevity too is her, and she did this for me too, is that she plays to people's strengths. When a new thing comes into the band, she's not afraid to let them shine. Like I was kind of, I don't know. Well, actually, it does kind of matter.
No, that's a good band leader that does that.
Yeah, she brought me out as a singer. She was like, "You're going to sing."
That's right. And you did some James Brown songs?
No interest. I mean, I'm not really into it now. But you know what threw
me a little bit, because I haven't heard you, is the Pat Boone medley.
Oh, yeah. That was her idea.
Pat Boone covers Prince.
Oh, God. No, but she was good at capitalizing
Yeah,
And,
yeah.
you know,
well, I
like,
thought it was great.
there were things of them that were there was a continuity that you did have to learn the thing, but then there was an open slice for whoever. And so when I joined, it was like 1990 probably, and I was like Mr. Hip Hop, Mr. R&B, and I was into tech at the time.
Yeah.
And so when I joined the band, one of the things was you had to do a drum solo. It was part of the set, which I hated. I hated it. I was like, I don't know how to. I find it embarrassing when the band leaves and the drummer just sits there and
yeah,
works out.
It's a different school that you come from.
I can't be looked at trying to.
Right.
I'm just not that. So I said, what if I compose a solo? Because I realized that I like the solo over a vamp.
Right.
You know, like whenever I'm with a band and I have to play a solo, I just go do a vamp and I'll play around it. I don't like.
Yeah, everybody
just
leaving.
Drums.
That's a horrible feeling.
I hate
That's happened to me a few times. And I don't even play drums.
Well, everyone always leaves when you're playing.
Right. The audience included.
Yeah. But I thought if I compose, maybe I'll compose a solo that I could have the drum machine kind of have a beginning, middle, and end. I could get so that I wouldn't go off into some indulgent, thing.
Yeah.
And Cynthia was like, yeah, go for it. So it took me a couple of weeks, but on the way to the gig, if someone else was driving, I would sit there with my boss drum machine and program the whole thing. So when we played the song, I would start it and we would play to the accompaniment. And then when the drum solo, it would just be one continuous song with no.
Right.
I would play around within, but I also knew this whole solo is like, 2 minutes.
Right.
And it has sections.
So you had an arc to it. And
had a total arc. Because I'm more comfortable with composition. I like to improvise within a composition, but I'm not an improvise.
You're not a drumbo.
No.
Yeah.
No.
And no knock on drumbos.
No. I like improvising I like expression, but I'm not that. I'm not free like so Tom Izzo's funny because he's made that face a lot, but like I don't like I get frustrated with jazz because I hear people play
Shut
it.
up.
And I just go, will you just pick a pattern and play it?
Oh, I see.
Like you're showing me every possibility.
Wait, I think what you're saying is I don't understand.
I don't understand.
Yeah.
And Tom would go, he listens to me and he'll go, John, the nature of the music is improvisatory. It's improvised in nature. That's why because I'm just like, you're showing me everything that you know, pick one. And he's like, that's the whole point is not pick. And I'm like, okay, it's just not for me.
Right.
So
as you know, I love jazz.
Oh yeah, no, I do in the end. I just mean.
Yeah, I know what you mean. No, to play it is to really play it, you have to commit to a lifestyle. You have to wear a robe.
I could never.
Yeah, and the underwear.
I could wear a robe.
Yeah,
I have no problem with that part. But that's what happened with 8 to the Bar. I did a composed solo, and then I don't know what came next. But then Octopads, there was a period where you could play electronic. There was like
you had some electronics up there.
I had a pad, and then it used to be the original Octopad was you had to have an external sound source. But then they came out with like all the sounds were in it. And I was like, oh, I only need this one thing.
Right.
So I would make patches of like, this is the xylophone and this is the steel drum. And then I would have an advanced patch pedal. So my solo would go over here and then I would, boom, change keys and boom.
Right.
So I had this whole composed.
You were committed to this thing.
I was into it.
Yeah.
And it worked
well,
for a while.
I remember seeing it go like, wow, that was really good.
And it prevented me from
having. And it
having
was 2 minutes and 12 seconds, if I recall.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And then, of course, Cynthia, once I did that, and there were a handful of songs that I felt like the tempo has to be perfect or it doesn't work.
Oh, you had a click?
And I would program a click, just like a tambourine part.
Yeah.
And she was like, can you do that for the whole show? And I'm like, no, but it's a good
where
idea.
Appropriate, yeah.
Yeah, so there were some songs that I felt like if it's a click or two slower or faster, it doesn't work.
Yeah.
So I would just, hit it.
That's interesting because there's so many shows now where people go out with a click, where the drummer plays to a click.
I like it.
Yeah.
I think a click
for
gig is
in
fine.
the studio when we were recording,
Yeah.
A click is oftentimes our best friend. You know that for some people they hate it, and then you just turn it off for them.
Yeah, right.
You know, but as long as a couple of us have it, I like the click.
Me too.
So talk about that. You're not a drumbo.
Right.
So let's talk about the guys who are the DNA guys for you, which I'll throw it out there. Bunny, Tommy Artolino, Ringo, and we could probably stop there, but I'll throw Keith Moon in just for like dessert.
Yep.
But who else would you add? Like,
oh man,
I mean, like fundamental, the DNA.
Okay.
From whence you spring.
Those are the three.
Whew, that was. You see that? I didn't write that down either.
It goes. Ringo's number one. First drummer I heard. Ringo. Tom Artolino, and Bunny Carlos. Those were the three. That's my DNA.
That's what the core is built on.
That's it.
The pillar.
That's it.
Yeah.
But then on the funk side, there was Sly and the Family Stone's greatest hits. Greg Errico, I heard that real early. And that just, that thing was in there. And then, when it comes to guys, of course, as a drummer, you can't get around John Bonham. You just can't.
Right.
So fully immersed in John Bonham. Not oddly my favorite. He's not part of my DNA.
Right. But he's in there.
There's so much info. Yeah. There's so much.
Yeah.
John Bonham, Keith Moon for sure. I love Keltner, as you know.
Of course, yeah.
And I've had.
I like all these drummers too. That's why, I like it when a drummer doesn't like. Oh, I listen to Vinnie. I like Vinnie Colaiuta too. I love him, but he's not like fundamental for me.
No, nor me. I mean, I appreciated when we were all drum drumbos, whatever. Yeah, it's Vinnie Colaiuta, Dennis Chambers, Dave Weckl, all those cats, and I went through all of them, just like anybody. But once I hit James Brown. Once I started getting immersed in that, real hypnotic kind of thing.
Right.
But other drummers, obviously Keltner, which I've many times in a blind test, I hear it and not even know it's him and go, I like that, and it's him. I always knew, and I'm not just saying this because he was here, but I always liked Bernard Purdie. And then when he was on the show, and I did a deep dive, and I realized the thing about Bernard that I did not realize is we only are overly familiar with his biggest stuff, but he has whole...
Yeah, right.
And I'm like, oh.
So can I ask you something? How much did you prepare for that? Because that's a big get for you, right? I mean, it's not like having me here, but it's good, right?
Well, I knew this with Bernard. I knew for myself, I watched as many interviews as I could. When I knew he was going to be on, I crammed, and I watched enough things, and I read. There was the Max Weinberg book, which is classic. He wrote a book called The Big Beat.
Right, I know that book.
It's essential. And Bernard is a chapter. So I knew all that stuff, and now, of course, with the internet, I read as many interviews as I could, and I thought, I want to hit them where they ain't.
Right.
I said, don't ask them about the Purdie Shuffle. Don't ask them about Steely Dan, because everyone knows that already, and that's going to take up a lot of time. And also, there's not drums here.
Prepared for omission.
Mm-hmm.
No, I thought. So here's what I did.
I wanted to do a compliment. I wanted to do the
fill in the gaps.
And I tried and he wrote a book which I had read and I reread before the thing. And I just try and I immerse myself, and I realize this list is crazy.
In the Purdie puddle.
Yeah. And what I don't think a lot of people knew, and I didn't really know till I clicked and figured it out. And this is another one of those blind things. I'm a big reggae fan. He played on Bob Marley tracks.
Right.
Nobody freaking knows that. And I would listen to Bob Marley, and you get to understand who's who. Then there's this sliver of tracks that I'm like, who's this guy? And I'm like, it's Bernard. So when I got him here, I asked him about that, and he was like, because nobody knows that he did that.
Was that a ghosted thing that he did, or
it was kind of a ghosted thing? Because
and did you? This is a sidebar. Real quick. Were you tempted at any point to go, pretty good? Sorry.
No, because I'm not you.
I'm sorry.
No. But, no, I mean, Bob Marley, before he reformed, what happened?
Oh.
Good? Before, he tried a lot of different styles. Bob Marley happened to be one of those people right at the time he remade it. It's kind of like the Beatles. He was following trends, and then all of a sudden, everything came together, and he embodied a new direction. But before that, he was trying styles that already existed. And when he got into this rock steady style, Bernard was not in Jamaica. I forget. He was in the Bahamas.
New York, I thought.
He was in the Bahamas working with Johnny Nash.
Oh.
So they said, hey, let's get this guy. And they brought him over for, it might even been a day, but they cut like, I don't know how many, a dozen or whatever.
Wow.
And Bernard just kind of, his thing is, from what I gathered, is just knowing what to do and just listened to what they were doing and glommed and said, I think I know what it needs. And the way he played on those handful of tracks, he's a genius. It encompasses everything that was good about reggae drumming up to then, but somehow better. He went in it and just turned it just the right way, with just the right touch. And I didn't even, I found out later, I'm like, because I'd be like, who's that guy on those tracks? It was him.
Right.
So Bernard he was always on the list, but he made the list. Then I started listening to his jazz playing. I'm like, guy's got a whole other.
Yeah, shut up.
Yeah, just shut up.
Shut up.
Bernard, Levon.
Of course.
Listened to him when I was a really little kid. We had band records. I had an uncle who was in the record business, and we had promos. So,
well, I think it's funny that you like all these great drummers that I'm not sure a lot of drummers like as much as they should. Like a lot of drummers, not a lot. I'm generalizing, so I'm making this up. I have no statistics. But we all know guys who are really attracted to the steroidal performer. And that's true for any instrument, right? Guitar players who can play a zillion notes, or the guitar player can play one note or two notes, and you go, oh, I know who that is. That's great. Thank you.
Yeah, I don't know what it was, whether it was young enough.
They're all guys that play songs.
I had an emotional connection to the sound rather than I wasn't intimidated like people who are that kind of player. It's more of an intimidation. Like you hear it and you're like, I could never get close to that. I heard things that drew me in, and I felt like, oh, I want to get involved with this and do this. I would feel the music that would not intimidate you or make you feel like it was unattainable, but that would draw you in. But Levon, the Motown guys, trying to think who else. I'm going through this thing lately where I got whacked a couple of times. Actually, Paula, this works for her, is she's into Fiona Apple, and she would play Fiona Apple records.
I didn't even know she played drums.
Yeah. And I'd be like, who's this drummer?
I know who that is.
And I would look it up and go, it's Abe.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And then I recently heard somebody talking about a Michael Landau live album. And I was like, I'll check this out. It's at the Baked Potato. It's like all the cat gig. And I'm like, listening to it, and I'm like, who's this drummer? It's not Vinny. Like, I'm like, who is this? It's like, he's cat level, but really cool. And I'm like, I love this guy's playing. It's Abe.
Yeah.
So that happened.
He went past Cat.
He went past Cat.
Yeah.
I love him. I love Richie Hayward. I'm not a giant Little Feat fan, but the way he does everything is, I'm just like perfect.
Yeah.
I love later what's his name? The Scatolites drummer who died. I can't remember his name offhand.
Can't think of it either.
Huge.
I bet you have it in your filing cabinet though. Under
It's somewhere
what would
in
be
there.
under S, Scatolites, D for drummer, or D for died?
If I don't,
Both.
if Bill Carbone watches this and
All three
realizes I don't know the guy, I can't remember his name offhand. But yeah, I have a lot of them. I mean, there's just so many of them.
All right, let's take 2 seconds to do this.
All right.
Are you aware of Chat GPT?
Nope.
Artificial intelligence?
Nope.
All right, so you can ask it anything. I asked it last week, explain the theory of quantum entanglement. as if you're talking to an idiot, and seemed to know that it was. And it explained it to me. So earlier, I put
Lloyd Nib.
I said, I know that guy, yeah. Design a 1-hour interview with drummer Jon Peckman.
You're kidding.
No, and here,
Are you serious?
Look
Wow.
at what it did in like 3 seconds. It
You're
spit all the. I mean, it says, sure, here's an outline for a 1-hour interview with drummer Jon Peckman.
No.
Yeah. Introduction, 5 minutes. Welcome and introduce Jon Peckman. Briefly discuss his background and experience as a drummer, which I think we've done. I'm just reading this for the first time now.
Oh, good.
Explain the purpose of the interview and what topics will be covered. I'm not going to do that because that's stupid.
Yeah,
Ow! It's trying to kill me.
There's you got satellites in the sky for
God,
this.
it's not artificial. It's really intelligent. But I mean, it just spit this out. I didn't intend to use it, but I thought it was funny that it could tell us how to do a generic interview. And I thought, this is probably a time where you probably want somebody who's actually intelligent. You have either artificial intelligence or me.
Oh, those are my choices. Yeah, there's the groan.
Yeah.
Trying to think of what other drummers. I mean,
they'll pop up. They'll pop up for you.
So many. I think a lot of drummers would agree with this. Kenward Denard on that frickin' Maceo live record was like, okay, I had to change everything. When I heard that, I was like, okay.
Who played on live at the Apollo?
Well, it depends on which one. The one that I like from '66 was probably I don't know if it was Clyde yet. I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not the James Brown scholar, but yeah, that stuff. I mean, Garibaldi obviously, but I got a thing for Average White Band. I almost will take Steve Ferroni over Garibaldi. It's different.
I mean, fortunately, in real life, we don't have to make that choice.
No, we can
We
have it
rarely have to make it. It's like when people argue about baseball players or something.
Right.
You're never going to have to choose those baseball players.
Herman Matthews with Tower of Power, I liked. He was different.
Herman started as their accountant.
Really?
Yeah.
Are you serious?
No.
Oh, okay.
No. But with a name like Herman, I feel like you should start everything as an accountant, right? So, and then you're so good at counting that you develop a rhythm, and you're counting. You could.
Sorry. Russ Kunkel.
Oh, sure. Yeah.
Now you can't get around that. That's a way to be
Boo, 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 boo.
inventive.
Right.
I don't know. I like a lot of
Well, no. I just wanted to, get to the basics. I think you went to the second tier even.
What about Josh Freese?
Josh Freese. Oh, my God. Dave Grohl. Dave Grohl, Josh Freese.
Wait, who is the new Dave Grohl guy?
We don't know.
Right.
We don't know.
Will it be Dave Grohl?
I bet it's Josh Freese. I don't know. Nobody knows. Would Junior call me, my friend Junior, who's
right, I know Junior.
He called me that night when
I
when
actually
Taylor
thought of
died.
him.
He called me and he says, once we got, we're talking about it, and he goes, what's going to happen? I said, I didn't know they were going to cancel the dates, but I go, I'm going to tell you this right now. If they're going to honor whatever dates are left, Josh Freese is flying over our head right now. I bet you. He wasn't, but
I think if Junior is bound through the arc of time and space to the Foo Fighters.
yeah. Oh, yeah. Totally connected.
He had his kid playing sat in on a few gigs there.
Say what?
He had his kid play a few gigs.
Yeah, he did. Yeah,
Who, Dave Grohl did?
Taylor's kid played.
Oh,
He was
Taylor's-
great.
wow.
He was great. Yeah.
That's like a new tradition in rock. Like rock
Rick
bands have been
Nielsen's-
around long enough where like becomes a family chair.
Rick Nielsen's son is the drummer,
Right.
and Robin Zander's son is the kind of other guy.
Right. I think Bruce Springsteen has Clarence Clemens' nephew.
I know.
It's all nepotism. Jesus, we don't stand a chance of getting a good gig.
Nope.
Unless for me it would be like writing manuals on how to fly a helicopter, which is what my dad did.
Oh, really?
Yeah. I'm screwed.
Roger Hawkins.
Oh yeah.
I mean,
Sure.
I remember.
Sure.
I don't know why. I mean, well, I think I know why. But my parents had an Aretha, "Baby, Baby, Sweet Baby," that drum track. I just was like, the way that was huge for me.
Yeah.
Back then, all that stuff. My
Yeah.
parents had R&B, so.
I wonder when those foundational
Jim
fundamental. Who?
Jim Gordon. Jim
I
Gordon.
was just talking about Jim Gordon the other day, and I was explaining the story. And
I actually have a lot of his. I realized I picked up a lot of his.
he's a great drummer.
from-
He's still in prison, right?
Too bad he killed his mom.
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
that
That
guy.
guy.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
Great drummer.
Yep.
He has a drive. The way he drives with the ride cymbal.
Right.
I still do that.
I have.
I still want to kill my mom.
I will.
sometimes.
No, I'm
That's
not
the
going to
fun.
make a terrible joke. I was going to say he uses a hammer, but no, that's terrible. All right, let's get off of Jim Gordon.
Yeah.
He's got trouble.
God, great drummer.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. Now you got me thinking.
Yeah. So
Just a lot of them.
future shows for you.
Oh.
Like you've gone through clearly almost 100 people in Connecticut,
Yep.
plus Bernard Purdy.
Yep.
I'm going to make a suggestion.
I'm
You don't
ready.
have to use it.
No, I'm ready.
I could do this, on my own podcast.
Yeah, good.
Marching band. Like get them all in here and do a really intimate interview. What do you think?
I think I'd like to not do that.
Yeah. How
I
about
think it would be good to not do that.
how about some monks? Like, to come in and do a little Gregorian chant. Their latest Gregorian chant. I wonder if they still write. Like, do they update?
Yeah, is it a dead? Yeah.
Or they just go back in the day and get the classic. They do classic Gregorian chant.
Freebird. What's the
Right.
Freebird of Gregorian chants? This is what I wanted to say. One time I had a guest, and I missed this opportunity. Do you realize that at some point, if I was a comedian, this is a bit I said this one time. So I used to DJ at City Steam sometimes, and they had a comedy club in the basement. I remember one time I was out front having a cigarette, and I realized I was standing next to who could only be the comic. And I was like, "Hey, man," and I go, "Do you want to hear a bit?" Because I
You
have
said
bits.
to him,
I have bits. I go, dude, just walk away. But I have a couple of bits that I would wish that I could give to someone. Do you want to hear him? He goes, go ahead. And I think one of them, I have a bunch of them. I'm not going to do. But this one, I said, do you realize at some point Freebird was, Leonard Skinner says, we're like to play a brand new song we just wrote. Goes like, and someone's going, no, give me 3 steps. Like they don't want to hear like someone played Freebird and it was like, what the hell is this? Play, what's
Yeah.
that smell? Or whatever.
yeah.
I guess it's not that funny.
No, it's a bit.
I think it's funny.
It's funny.
At some point, what did they
I don't
yell
know if
before
it's like
Freebird?
Right.
I don't know if that leaves City Steam Comedy
be-
Club. I
might
don't know
be
if it
just
dies
right
right there,
Might be
or if
sorry.
it's just targeted specifically at that audience.
Do you want to hear my Kiss bit? I call this one lunch. You ready?
I just filled out a survey, and there were
this is
2
a good
bass
one.
players in it, and Gene Simmons was one, and I gave him thumbs down.
Really?
Sorry, yeah, I'm not of that generation. I hate Kiss. You love Kiss, I know
No, I don't
No.
love Kiss.
that, but
did
I would
love
fight
Kiss.
you over that.
I loved Kiss until I heard Cheap Trick, and then I no longer like
Yeah.
Kiss. They came in the same. But I will say this for Kiss. They came to us. You had to be like David Bowie. You had to go to.
Yeah.
He's not coming
Well,
here.
I had the Monkees, which were
Right.
the Kiss of my generation.
I will hand it to Kiss if nothing else. And there is other else. They came up every street of every house of every road.
You know where
and
they got
knocked on
that
the
idea
door.
from?
Where?
The Monkees. Here we come, walking down every street.
See? Groom.
That comes.
Hal Blaine.
Yeah.
Groom.
You
There's
see
another
the through line?
Yep. I got it. Did you get that from your chat? Whatever.
Yeah. Chat GPT.
All right, you ready?
You know what? I just typed in do an interview with Jon Peckman and it yelled Freebird.
All right, here's my bit. You ready?
Yeah.
It's called Lunch. So Kiss at the corporation where they're going to create Kiss, and the leader says, whoever's leading the meeting goes, okay, guys, remember our assignment was we want to come up with iconic characters that kids will relate to that are larger than life. Who wants to go first? And Gene goes, I have an idea. I'm going to be a demon. I'm going to have bats for eyes and snakes for legs. I'm going to spit blood and fire. It's going to be, love it. Great. Who's next? And Paul goes, I was thinking I'm just going to be the rock star to end them all. I'm literally going to have a star on my eye. I'm with chest hair, and I'm just going to be the ultimate rock star lover. Love it. Keep it going. Who's next? Ace goes, I always like science fiction. I'm going to be a spaceman. I'm gonna shoot rockets out of my guitar and smoke, and I'm gonna look like I'm from outer space, like a spaceman, because kids like space. Love it. Peter, what do you got? He goes, I don't know what. I'm going to be a cat. How about that? How about a cat? And they're like, that's Mike. I have a cat. Like larger than life, Peter. Extraordinary. Something that no one ever thought of. He goes, well, like a cool rock and roll. Like I'm a cat, like a rock and roll cat. And just then the guy goes, lunch. That's good enough, Peter. Let's go with that. That's it. They just ran out. Like they load in hard and then they just end up with like, it's good enough.
No, that's a good bit.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Maybe that was the one I should have.
Yeah, you should have hit the guy with on the smoke break with that one. Yep. Although it's a bigger setup.
And that almost brings us close to the end.
Really?
Kinda.
I'm just getting going.
Oh boy! All right. Well,
yeah.
How much time we got? How
I was speaking to your third grade teacher, Mrs. Pelka, about some of the antics you got into. I don't know.
Third grade was tough.
Yeah, it is for everybody. Just so you know.
God. Yeah. Third grade. Hard on Paula too.
Yeah, it's hard on everybody.
Yeah.
Especially third grade teachers.
Oh God, my sister's a third grade teacher.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's hard on her every year. Every year is third grade for your sister.
Yeah, no, she's good at it. I bet. All right, what else you got?
Bless those folks. Bless them.
Oh man.
I did. You know what? I forgot why I wrote this word down. Rabbit.
Rabbit.
You guys are like, how many rabbits are we on now?
3. We're on our
This
third
is our
one.
third.
We started with Bunzo.
Yep, Bunzo. So how did it start? A friend of ours had a rabbit. We were living together. We had a couple of birds. At one point, we had 3 birds. We were up to, she's
I
into
remember
bird.
that.
Paula's
Yeah.
into birds.
Me too.
Yeah.
And I
Jim's a
said, I
bird
want
man.
a furry mammal because I couldn't connect with any of her. I
That's
like
a
her
really
birds.
broad category that you gave her to choose from.
Well, didn't want to get a dog. Don't like cats. Sorry, not a cat person.
Me
And
neither.
Could have been an ocelot, or could have. It's a big category.
I had my eyes on
Uh-huh.
a sloth. Remember,
Yeah.
there was
Oh
a
my
sloth. That
God.
thing was weird. And so I was like, she's like, all right. And I said, well, I don't know what though. And we happened to be at a pet store, and there was like a bunch of guinea pigs. And when we saw Bunzo, he was literally as small. I thought it was a weird guinea pig.
Mm-hmm.
Like he was so little. And I was like, he was the cutest thing I ever saw. I said, what's that? Is that? And then the kid goes, that's a rabbit. And I'm like, that's a rabbit? I mean, you could hold him in your palm.
Yeah,
of your
yeah.
hand. So we took him home. He was cute as hell. And that's how we got into rabbits. A friend of ours, I think, had rabbits. And they were like, yeah, you can get into this. It's easy. So we had him for 8 years.
I know you guys went hard into down the rabbit hole.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then came Dasher, my sweetheart, that I'm
Right.
still sad about. Rescued him. So the first one we got from a pet store, not recommended. He had a condition that that he eventually died of, that we could not, like a rabbit mill kind of scenario. So then I said, we're going to just rescue him from now on, even though those could have come from a
They
mill.
probably come from. There's a mill for every animal, isn't there?
Yeah. Yeah. Pretty much a meat.
I think there's an ocelot mill.
Probably. But Dasher, so you adoption places, you just click. It's like Tinder for nope. No, it is. You literally look, because people foster them, and you just.
You're just swiping away.
Oh yeah, and I saw Dasher. I saw a picture of him, and I said, "That's my guy." And I asked her, "What do you think?" And she said, "Go check him out."
What made you? What is it? What happened?
I don't know. I don't know.
Like he was the Bunny Carlos of rabbits.
Yeah, he just was. Well, he resembled. It's funny because I think he's my sweetheart, but it was sad when Bunzo died. I was devastated, and Dasher kind of resembled him. I just thought, let's just get one that looks like the old one.
That's me.
Right.
That's how it
me.
started.
Just give me a golden
Dasher
retriever.
he was nicer though.
Yeah. So Dasher, he was cool, and a little cooler than Bunzo, less destructive because it goes by breed. And Bunzo was a prick.
Well, do you remember? I had that Angora.
Oh yeah.
Oh
Rabbit.
yeah.
Yep, Georgia.
Yeah. But Dasher was cool. He was really sweet. We had him for he was either 12 and we had him for 11 years, or he was 13 and we had him for 12 or whatever. But he died right when we went into lockdown. I was so devastated.
Oh, I remember that.
Oh my God, my little buddy. And so now we're on rabbit number 3, which we waited till we got the new house. We were rabbitless for over a year.
Tragically rabbitless.
And then we found King, our new one, who's a Rex, which is a rare breed.
Whoa.
Which are, if you want to get one, they're difficult to get.
So is this like you bumped up here?
Yep. Found him on a...
What?
Karen Barth sent me a link and said,
Wow.
he's at the
What
dog
is
pound.
what breed is he?
He is a Rex.
Oh,
So here's what's weird. So she sent me a link saying there's these bunnies at the dog pound in Brantford. So I went down to look at them, and I mean, it's like the Rex breed is known for their luxury. It's literally like touching the robe of a king. Like as soon as I touched him, I was like, I'm out of my league. Like this dude is, and he's just sitting there in a box in the dog pound.
Was he like sort of condescending?
A little bit.
Because he's better than you?
A little bit. So we pet him a bunch of times, and then we stopped petting him, and he was looking at us like, where did those guys go? And I thought, you know what, this might be our guy. And I just said, he's like a king that doesn't belong here. I was like, I'm going to get you out of here. You're going to come live with us, only to find out later for our Latin-speaking people who might be watching, I said, we're going to name him King. That's what Rex means. Didn't know
Thank
that.
you.
Invented it.
Yeah.
So he's the king of the world.
Yeah. Well, I'm
I don't
glad you
love
pointed
him
that
yet.
out.
I don't love him quite the way I
Really?
love him.
I do.
Does he?
She does.
You
Yeah.
think because he's a little holier than
He's
thou?
mommy's little boy.
He's a king?
He's mommy's boy.
Yeah.
No, I don't know. I didn't like Dasher at first either. Maybe it just takes a while. I need them to be more dependent. He's too independent. I need when
Like he could fend for himself in the wild?
kind of no.
No.
He's very upset.
Actually, wild
today.
rabbits can't actually fend for
is?
themselves.
Yeah, I didn't let him out when I got home, and he's still secluded in his
We gotta
smaller
You know
area.
what? You know what? Right now he's doing. He's rifling through that filing cabinet and shredding
Oh, yeah.
everything in it,
Oh,
or
yeah.
rearranging it, putting it way out of
He's
order.
misalphabetizing
Right?
it.
Oh, yeah.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah. No, he's cool. Yeah. So we're totally into rabbits, and now I'm just at the point where I'm like, we like him, and it's like I'm more in it for him. I'm just like, dude, you have a good life. Why don't you live with us? When
Right,
you rescue
right.
him, it's better.
But sooner or later, though, you're gonna get all coochie with him. I think.
Oh, I will.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. It'll
Do you
happen.
guys think you'll ever expand to other mammals?
No.
No, you've culled this down to one species of just rabbits.
Yeah.
Well, let me ask.
Was that a
you.
phylum?
Yeah.
What would that be? You're the Latin guy.
No.
A genus?
Yeah, I don't know. I would love to have a dog. That's my dream. And our house has a fenced-in yard, perfect for a dog. But I don't want to touch every single turd that my dog ever lays.
And I
Yeah.
I don't want the house to be filled with dog hair. I'm allergic to anyway.
Oh,
so.
okay. Well, then that's us.
And neither of us like cats, so
you
that
know,
was an easy decision.
I can tell you that I have a tragic. I've raised a squirrel from birth
Yeah, that's right.
through the full
Oh.
cycle, and blind, a little baby blind squirrel, and raised it up. So I like those animals. So my dog, Lucy, would never hurt an animal, but she likes to hear them squeak.
Oh.
And so we were having a high school graduation party for Annie, and
Which was
rabbits
10
don't.
years ago now.
Yeah, it was 35 years ago
Yeah.
now. Rabbits don't care where they lay their babies, right? They're slobs.
Oh, really?
So we had the graduation party, and out come all the babies in the middle of the party, like 8 of them. And
and the dog just goes,
she didn't intentionally. I just heard, and she went and she made them all squeak. It never make a rabbit squeak. So dogs and rabbits don't mix, as it turns out.
yeah.
Yeah, well, they can, but that doesn't sound like a good situation.
She thought, like, look at Father, look, I brought you a gift.
Yes.
Oh,
Yes.
I
Well-
have not heard it because I have a soft mouth.
Yeah, squealing gut bags for you. Here they are, all are.
Well, on that note, boy, we stayed right on the trail until the end there. We went off bad with. I shouldn't have written the word rabbit. should I?
I
It
know.
was. That's all I wrote was the word rabbit.
And we're over now, too,
Yeah.
so we gotta
Oh, yeah.
go.
Yeah. All right.
All right, ask me the wrap-up questions. Dave knows what they are.
All right. What are they, Dave?
What was your first concert?
What was your first concert, John?
The Bee Gees
Not bad.
in the white suits my parents brought me.
Well,
All right. What's his desert island food?
what's your desert island? Oh, peanut butter.
No, not anymore.
Really?
I quit peanut butter.
My, how we have grown.
I had to. I had to. My head was like a floppy balloon. It still is.
Oh, you had
but
peanut butter head syndrome?
I did. I actually did.
I have it every
I was like,
morning.
what do I do? I stopped the
it could
peanut
happen.
butter. Yeah, my
Yeah.
head.
All right. What's your desert island food?
Mexican anything. I could eat Mexican every day. I
Okay.
don't care. Anything. Doesn't
Dave, what's the next question?
What's his Desert Island album?
Oh, Desert Island
Oh,
album.
God.
You got-
All right. What's your desert island album?
The White Album.
Really?
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. That's the first thing. Yeah.
Yeah.
White
I don't
Album.
know if I feel like I should judge you for that, but I'm not going to.
Really?
Well, no, it's a perfectly legitimate
It was
call.
the first one
Perfectly.
I heard. It
Yeah.
was the first one I heard.
Yeah. I don't know. Revolver? Although
Oh,
more
sure.
songs on the White
Sure.
Album.
I don't know what it is
Yeah.
about the White Album.
I love it too.
There's
Yeah.
something about when I was a kid, a little kid listening to the White Album. I don't know if you remember this, but like your day can change like that. It's happy, it's
Yeah,
fun,
sure.
then you get a feeling and things start to go wrong and it gets dark
Yep.
and then it's happy again.
Yeah.
And the White Album.
And then
just-
it's number 9.
and then it's number 9. It was like a day in the life.
Here's what I
reflected
find
on.
about that question. We all presume that every desert island has a phonograph, right?
Right.
Some sort of media player. Maybe now they've bumped up to like you have a flash drive and you show up with one album. You've just survived a shipwreck. You crawl to shore, and before you look for food or anything, you put your thumb drive
Yeah.
into the desert island
The
media
coconut
player,
tree has them.
and it
Right.
and the desert island saying, "What's this guy good? Oh, the White Album, not bad."
No, the Desert Island goes
Right. Yeah,
Smiley Smile by the Beach Boys, which is
Sure.
completely weird.
but you only get one choice here.
I do? No, I don't.
You get more than one.
I can name up to 5.
Well, it's your show. You get
Okay.
as many as you want.
Smiley Smile,
Sure.
Cheap Trick's very first album, 1976. Towards the Within, Dead Can Dance. I don't know. There's
One more. You have one more. Spend it wisely.
oh man, what could it be? Oh,
You always
man,
like that
I don't.
sounds.
Wildflowers?
It could be. Tom Petty
Interesting. I
Wildflowers.
would have never guessed that.
That
but
could
I love
well
that
be.
record. It's beautiful.
That could well be. That could
Sure.
be. That could be one.
I mean,
of them.
that'll get you through the day on a desert island.
Yeah, that'll do it.
There's no water.
What's
Check
the
out
story?
this song.
Morning Glory by Oasis.
Oh,
Your
yeah.
favorite
Oh,
band.
Noel and Liam. Don't want to see him. Don't want to hear him, and don't want to be him.
God, I have so many. All right,
I
we
know.
got to go. We're way over.
Are there any other questions before we go?
No, I think that's.
I'd like to thank you all for coming to the 100th podcast
Yeah.
by Jon Peckman. 100 hours of content, maybe 110 if we count tonight,
Wow.
because we went over.
I hope everybody's happy. I was thinking too, because people responded on Facebook. Oh, I would love to come in and roast you or whatever. Maybe I'll take questions. Leave your questions in the comments, and I'll actually answer. Some
Is this?
questions.
This isn't live. It
No,
isn't.
it's not live. But
Thank
some-
God.
Oh God. But yeah, people. I guess.
Can
I
you
did-
auto tune my voice?
Yeah, totally.
Yeah,
I didn't
you're gonna
realize
need
how
it.
many people wanted to roast me. I'm just like, go ahead.
I saw that. That's why I said no.
I don't
Well,
mind.
yeah, but that wouldn't be just to come in and roast you. I mean, I could just call you on the phone for that,
That's true.
right?
That is true.
I mean, why am I going to drive all the way down here to roast you? I'd
Yeah,
get
exactly.
to actually hang out with you. I'd rather do that.
Wow. All right. I'm gonna press.
And really, had I known Paula was coming, this would be a 2-hour interview, and the second hour would be you and the filing system,
Oh,
because I want to know about that, because I don't have it. I don't have that gene.
she was gonna interview me, but she punked out.
I chickened out.
Really? It would just been,
It's
been a
better
series
that a
of
musician-
groans and
Not well. It might have-
judgment.
yes, but it's better that a musician, I
Yeah.
think, did the interview.
Yeah.
I guess.
Well, you've had a steady diet of musicians in your life, so you know what these people
Hey,
are like.
hey.
That's
hey,
not
hey,
what
hey,
I-
Hey, hey.
Wow, that was loud, man.
Sorry.
Are
That's my wife, bro.
Is that really, we're going to end on that? Is that how we're going to walk away?
Imagine.
I know. All right.
I hope
Well,
everybody.
thanks for having me
Oh, no.
on my new podcast. That's
Yeah.
the other thing Dave didn't tell you. We're changing it up.
That's fine. I don't
Yeah.
care.
It's the Jim Chapdelaine
Yeah.
podcast.
Yep.
You
Next
should.
week, Gregorian chant meets the marching band.
Why don't you? You could have a. Listen, Dave
Special
will tell
guest,
you how.
the bagpipe player.
Right. The bagpipe
I'll
like
start
band.
designing the artwork now for the Jim Chapdelaine.
Right.
podcast.
Have a druid in there. I'm all about the druids these days.
Well, I hope everybody was happy. I don't know what you.
I had a good time.
But I don't know.
You know they had a good time.
Yeah.
They love you. Your people love you.
All 100 of them. Are we up to 100 yet? Probably. I don't even know. It's the Me Podcast with me, starring me, about me. Connecticut Valley School of Music and Dance, beautiful downtown Portland, Jon Peckman Podcast. Come over to the bridge, go through one set of lights, start looking left. Dave will tell you how to. You should have your own podcast here now that you know how to do this. You could do this. Thanks a lot, kids. Thank you, Jim Chapdelaine, for interviewing me. My wife Paula is here. Thank you. And we'll see you later. Yeah, that is all.
If you'd like to start your own podcast, give us a call at Connecticut Valley School of Music and Dance. Our professionally designed podcast space is here for all your recording needs. Rent out our studio to do interviews with up to 4 people, to record audiobooks, social media content, and all other recorded material. Our rentals include a private studio along with our professional-grade podcasting equipment, and we can customize your output to whatever your needs are. We also have green screen capabilities, which will expand to video capability if you so wish. So check us out here at convalley.net/podcast.